Let us now proceed and check out the continue loop control statements in case of Kotlin. And now let us proceed and check out what does the continue statement stands for. And now suppose let us remove it, let us run the code. So our code is written in such a way that it will simply print the values from 1 to 10, right? Now suppose I want to print the value 4 and then 6. I want to skip this 5 value. That is, I don't want to print the value of 5 in the output console. So for that, what I will do is that here initially I will simply write a condition. If I is equal to 5, then inside the if body I will simply write continue, right? So when the value of I becomes 5, then simply continue, which means that skip all the codes right after the if statement. That is, simply skip this part and then simply continue with the loop in a normal way. So let us now run the code. So here in the output we have 4 and then 6. We have not printed 5 in the output console. This is simply because the println statement when I becomes 5 is not executed. And now suppose you want to print all the odd number. So for that, what you will do, you will simply use I modulus 2 equal to let's say 0, then simply continue, right? Don't print the values. So here in the output console, we have all the odd numbers printed. So we have simply skipped out 2, 4, 6 and 8 and also 10. So all the odd numbers except the even numbers has been printed in the output console. So this is how we make use of the continue statements and also the break statements in case of Kotlin. It is totally same as that of Java. Now suppose I have two nested for loops. Let me show you another example, such as, so here I have two nested for loops, one loop within another. Now here let me reduce the range to 1, 2, 3 and again 1, 2, 3. And now let us use the concept of interpolation to print the value of, let's say, I space $j. And now let us run the code and let's see the output. So in the output console we have 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, so on till 3, 3, right? Like we saw in the previous video. Now suppose if I use the if condition here, let's say if condition, let's say I is equal to 2 and j is equal to 2, then simply continue. And now let us cut this print statement from here, Ctrl X, and paste it right after the if condition, right? And now let us run the code and let's see what impact it holds in the output console. So in the output we have 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1 and soon after that I have 2, 3. We have simply skipped 2, 2 in the output console. Now suppose I want to skip this 2, 3 as well. So for that what I will do is I will simply use the labeled for loop. Now I will simply define a name for my outer for loop, which is actually user defined. So outer space. Now this for loop is actually known as the outer. We have simply given the name for our outer for loop. So here what I will do, I will simply use outer. So continue the outer loop, right? Now why we are doing this? Just because this continue statement is by default applicable for the nearest for loop within which it is present. Now in order to continue looping for the outer for loop, we have to tell this continue statement that you have to use your property for the outer for loop. So that is why we are using the outer label here, right? And now let us run the code and let's see what happens. So in the output we have 2, 1 and after 2, 1 we have straight away 3, 1. So we have simply applied the continue statement for the outer for loop. Now remember, this outer keyword is actually user defined. You can name it, let's say my loop, and also use my loop here, and now it will work perfectly okay. So this was all about the continue statements in case of Kotlin.